Okay, this.
Go for it, Lauren. Okay, see? She's jumping in for I am there as well.
Okay, this first poem, I'm going to read two of them. They're kind of like sister poems, like one comes after the other. So this first one's called, Why Do I Always Write Nature Poems About Death? We are scattering Nan's ashes this weekend in the ocean. Currently, she lives in a box behind her old chair, been there 5 months and counting. We never seem to find a time to come together. We must come together in order to come apart. The cliffs seem like the correct poetic setting, with the crashing waves and silence. I think the car ride will be the hardest part. Buckled in box of ashes as if protecting life. Dad will get lost and argue. Will we eat chips on the beach like we always do? It feels wrong to eat among the dead, even though we do every time we eat dinner in the dining room, empty chair reserved for you know who. Anyway, this poem is about the beach. The water would be a suitable metaphor for grief. But all I can think about is that goddamn chair. Its dust, her dead skin cells collated, her saliva absorbed into it. She was the last person to sit on that chair. I think we should dump the chair into the ocean instead. That's the first poem.
Wow. No, what got me was, sorry, I giggled for a second there, was the title's absolute brilliant it was. It just kind of completely threw me then on the title.
Just making fun of myself because I
know. Oh, I've got a poem I'll send you myself actually. That's touched on some of the ground actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about a piano that gets buried in Morecambe actually, so in the sea. So, but that's not a true story. So it's something I read about and adapted. So, Brendan,
that's cool.
Tremendous. I felt because of your piece, I really felt the emotion on that, Lauren. Really, really powerful piece. So.
Thank you.
Okay, over to you for number two. Less than me. Over to you.
Okay, so this next poem is kind of like a sequel to the previous one. It's called A Perfectly Normal Family Day at the Beach. Sandcastles lie my spine, and the tide is coming in. My sister collects crab carcasses and dangles them in the sun like a lucky rabbit foot. She smashes rocks with bigger rocks, and the sand moves like a comet has struck it. The rock does not break, will not break. We walk on. I drag my mermaid tail along the sand, like I am magnetized to the ocean floor. The sea becomes louder and louder the further away I get from it. Beckoning or haunting, I cannot tell which. Sandcastles begin to grow at my fins. Kingless, they drag me down, and my family walks on. The foam of the ocean is wearing me like a flesh dress, like my blood is curdling the water into waves, like I am expected to walk into the sea after her ashes, trying to catch them before they turn to sand. My sister tries again to break the stone. It resists.
That last line really hard hitting there, actually. That's tremendous. That was. I also like the reference about flesh stress as well. So I think it really works really well in the context of that piece there. But again, you've got a really good use of titles in your pieces there as well. Some ways which would catch me out from the poem itself, but I like that anyway. So no,
I try to add a little bit of like dark humor with the titles sometimes.
I began to work that out. I saw the black humor definitely coming through there. So okay, Lauren, on to number three then, straight away.
Okay. Abandoned railway. Mum told me not to go up there, but that place held me in its hands like God. My best friend took me first. I would take many others, all surrogates of her. It was our bridge to Terabithia. Past the vines, used condoms and broken bottles, to the graffitied iron railings, our legs dangling through the gaps, trains sending small earthquakes through our bodies. I took a boy up there on our last date. I lay on his body like it was a train track. The place felt a little less sacred after that. One time, I saw a man up there fully nude, crouched there in the daylight like some wild creature. As I ran away, he heard the cracking of twigs and ran after me. Today, I went up there for the first time in a long time. I can't remember who I brought with me. It felt rehearsed, like I was living a memory. And then I realized why I used to love this place so much. I could still taste the midnight air and our laughter.
Tremendous again. Wow. Now, I'm reluctant to ask too many questions about that because I've got the feeling there's some parts of that are best just left alone, basically. I think definitely with that. So,
all a true story, that's all I'll say.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was all that was a true story. So, but which abandoned train station was that out of interest?
So it's, if you go, do you know the retail park in Altrincham?
I do, yes.
If you walk on the canal path from Dunelm Mill to Timperley, along the canal path, there's like a little intern, and then there's an abandoned railway like up in the sky. You have to kind of like
right, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I thought I was trying to think where it was round there. Yeah, there is one up round there. Yes, I have actually.
Oh,
yeah,
it's so cool.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. My mate of mine's a professional photographer. He dragged me up there about that was a few years ago as well, right? So yeah, that's why I wasn't sure where you'd been then for a minute. Because I know you've got a Mayfield train station opposite next to Piccadilly. And there's one in Trafford Park that's abandoned as well. So
yeah, no, I want to explore more abandoned places because I really like them, and they're great for poetry.
Oh yeah, completely. Do you can really get a feel for place sometimes you can. Like it was have you been to Longford Theatre?
No.
In Stretford. We'll read that one up. Read up on that for yourself. Or
the
Deco, it's also called. It's on the corner of Chester
Road.
Wait,
the blue one.
Yeah, the blue one.
Oh, I love that. I've not actually. I've only ever like drove past it, but it's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's. You can't get into it, but I've seen enough videos of it. You can see. It's worth reading up on that. I wrote a really good poem about that some years ago. It's fascinating. It's a fascinating play. Yeah, dig it up.
Yeah, so that's beautiful, isn't it?
Yes, amazing. Anyone's wondering where you are, check it out. Okay, so I would say definitely. Now that's your third poem, I believe, isn't it? So right, we're on to that. As I always say, a spoken label. The big conclusion now.
Okay. So this poem is from the collection I got with Young Identity called Ecosystems of Fury. So you can buy that on Young Identity's website. It's called Afterbirth. Imagine me naked in portrait. Placed inside an oyster shell, I adorn myself in goddess blood until I come out alone, ripe like a newborn. Imagine me naked in bloom. The greatest fruit drops at night, falling gracefully, pausing gravity to spin themselves like ballerinas, landing unbruised, almost rolling into my mouth for me to destroy. Imagine me naked in ink, umbilical to myself, birthing black into evergreen. Please, abortion me to reach nirvana.
Grief. Yeah, that was a good choice to wrap up with there straight away, because that's visually really, I think,
thank you,
shocking piece in a really stunning way, if that makes sense. Like it was that quite a difficult piece to write? Because obviously your first two yourself were directly about your family, weren't they?
Yeah.
And the third one was about more memories, but that felt you were on a different tangent altogether there.
Yeah, this was the easiest, to be honest, because it's like kind of more abstract, whereas the others are like memory based. So it's like there's more of a distance. So yeah, this was definitely, even though it feels like, I guess the imagery is more violent in a sense, but it was definitely easier to write and more fun. Not that the others weren't fun, they were more cathartic, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think there's a bit different certainly between image-based poems and cathartic stuff sometimes. I find out the piece they write where sometimes when they start mixing, then it gets more fascinating sometimes, definitely, if you know what I mean. So
Yeah, definitely.
anyway, so right, that is it for today, guys and girls. Lauren's and me have got a few other things to sort out on Spoken Label tonight because she's contributing to another project I'm doing, which we're going on to next. So you'll see that shortly. So, but Lauren, I want to thank you for today. It's been a fascinating chat today and unexpected as well, which is always a good sign. So,
No, it's been really, really great. I've really enjoyed it. To be honest, I wasn't having the best day, so this has been like a lovely way to end the day. It's been great.
it's always good. Always good tip, people. You always say good podcasting. And I always say that an apple a day keeps the doctor away. In this case, a podcast a day keeps the doctor away.
Amen.
But anyway, seriously, guys, this is the end of Spoken Label for today. So pleasure again, Lauren. We'll get you back on again, definitely in the future. I'd love to have you on.
Thank you.
So as Don Callis, formerly of Impact Wrestling, always says, and I like to do is conclude with, stay safe and stay over, and we will see you all next time.